Go live. Are we live, Steve?
We are live. Well done. Right on time.
We must be.
Yes, it
must be. The sense is telling me that we've gone into extremely expensive power time.
Yes, at 5 p.m. is when our power switch is over.
Right as I hit it. Yeah. All right, Alan says it's time for roll call.
Good timing, Alan. You got it. You nailed it this time.
Uh-oh, Kurt says all he hears on podfeed.com/live is music.
It's a delay, 20 seconds,
a few seconds behind.
It's about 20, I think. Sandy says 22.
All right, in roll call, we've got Alan and Kevin and Jason and Jill and John and Sandy and Steve and Michael. And do we have, we got a Titan bot in there. We got Kurt and
Rose.
Did I say Rose? We got Rose. John is in both places. It's very confusing. So my cold is persisting, which is nice because it's been 6 weeks, counted 6 weeks. So my voice is still kind of gravelly. And I have two choices to calm my voice down. One is these lovely Hall's Mentholyptus cough drops. Cough drops. They work very, very well. But there's one other thing that works well, and it's called rye whiskey. So I'll be sipping this tonight instead of eating lozenges.
So I remember the Martini show, and that ended badly, as I recall. Are we gonna have any problems?
I don't know. Is that a lot of rye?
Is that like a shot worth? 2 fingers?
Maybe a few more.
Well, it's with ice, so it's a little distorted.
Jill says, wow, I can barely podcast sober. We didn't say it was going to be a good podcast. I just said I would stop graveling and coughing and being generally annoying. Yep, Kurt, we really do a roll call. Wait, is Alan leaving? Blue Ridge whiskey. I would try that. Actually, what kind of whiskey is Blue Ridge whiskey, Kevin? Is that, because I've determined that I don't really like bourbon and I don't really like scotch, but I really like rye. Oh, it's moonshine. Okay, great. Comes in a plain mason
Basically,
jar.
It's the alcohol with no flavor.
So is this the stuff that Otis used to drink on Andy and Mayberry?
Yeah, it's the recipe that the women made in, the aunts made in...
What was that one? I know the one you're talking about.
The Waltons.
The Waltons, the recipe. Okay, Alan's leaving. Bye, Alan. Glad you could join us. All right, I think I should go ahead and start. What do you think, Steve?
Please do.
All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, August 8th, 2021, and this is show number 848. Well, I'm super proud of the uninterrupted 16 years of the NosillaCast, but I'm also really happy that I don't have a world record going for Chit Chat Across the Pond. I don't worry if a week goes by without a chit chat, like last week, and it also gives me the freedom to do what I did this week, which is publish 2 episodes within 24 hours. Okay, now I'm going to do the chapter mark. Oh, nope, got to save the file first. Why does he yell at me twice? That's the question. All right, let's see. Hindenburg, the H, and I'll do a copy link and a copy. And we have a chapter mark, and we're golden. All right. On Chit Chat Across the Pond Light, I interviewed Dr. Nikki Ackermans. She's a postdoctoral fellow of the Swiss National Science Foundation at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai in New York City. Her current work focuses on the anatomy and neuroscience of traumatic brain injury in head-butting animals. She's also the science correspondent for the Daily Tech News Show and hosted the Seniors in Tech series on DTNS, including interviewing NosillaCastaway Sandy Foster and me. She's also the host of the podcast Stories Your Granny Never Told. Nikki in Chit Chat Across the Pond Light tells us about her research doing MRIs on ox and sheep brains, and studying CT scans of their skulls to determine the effect of headbutting on their brains and whether they suffer the same kinds of concussions as humans. The hope is to try to help humans who suffer concussions, including football players and people in the service. Now, this sounds like a really creepy topic, but Nikki is absolutely delightful as she describes her delight in her work and how much fun it is. She's entertaining and funny and brilliant. I learned so much, and I smiled the entire time. You can find this episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond Light in your podcatcher of choice. Now, here's a crazy, crazy coincidence. As I was actively in the process of editing the audio for my interview with Dr. Nikki, a real-life friend of mine sent me a tweet she found funny on an animal forum, and it was from Dr. Nikki herself. How crazy is that? That's like destiny. All right. Sip.
Very cool.
Oh, it's a great interview. It's the best. You got to listen to that one, Steve. I think you'd get a big kick out of it.
I think I will.
I only make you listen to the good ones.
Ooh.
Oh, you enjoyed the interview? Good, good. Wasn't she awesome? At the end, she says, tell your audience to send me pictures of bones they find in their backyard. It's one of my hobbies to tell people what they are. Like, who does that? All right. I have another chapter mark in. In the second Chit Chat Across the Pond from this weekend, in Programming by Stealth number 122, Bart continues teaching us how to use chez moi to manage our dot files in Git. Well, that sounds like a lot of jargon to pack into one sentence, but of course Bart breaks this down into what dot files are, why we care about them, why we might like to manage them, and how chez moi lets us do just that. It's a fun show where we actually get to use chez moi to manage and edit some files. And of course, you can find this episode of Programming by Stealth in your podcatcher of choice. I'm going to do it again. One more here. There we go. Good. If I mention how much I like that macro mic. All right. Speaking of your podcatcher of choice, I highly recommend you check out last week's 5 episodes of the In a Few Minutes podcast with Ken Ray because it features our very own Bart Busschots. Ken's show is 5 days with the same person on 5 different short topics. Bart and Ken talked about connected speakers, Apple and COVID. They disagreed on Apple's approach to the App Store and how it's a money-making deal. Bart discusses with Ken the same topic I discussed with him, whether Apple should stay in China and continue to say that privacy is a human right. Finally, they end the week with Bart choosing the 3 people he'd want to invite to a dinner party. He actually cheated, but Ken allowed it, and it was awesome. The show is called In a Few Minutes, and you know where you can find it. There we go. Ken loves to disagree. Yeah, he had the same argument he had with me. All righty. I actually forgot that I wrote this next one up this week. I thought I did this last week.
I did too.
Did I? Did I talk about AirPlay 2 last week? Yeah, and your great-great-granddaughters apparently at all future dinner parties. Yeah. What's that?
I'll go check.
Do you guys remember? Did I thought I did, but I looked.
Familiar.
I thought I did, but Bart talked about it.
AirPlay 2 was Sonos last week.
Right. So this week is me talking about it.
Oh,
okay. Jason says I did talk about it.
It may have been the Bart thing.
Was last week the week we got back from vacation?
Yes.
Okay. Then I did not do this last week. Because my blog post is from the 3rd. Wait, Kevin says it. Yes, it was. Okay.
No, it says August 1st. Oh, your latest blog post. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if that was after we got back.
Yep.
It was August 3rd, so that would be Tuesday, right?
I think you're good.
Okay. Okay, good. So Bart was AirPlay 2, and I ended with a teaser. Good, that's what I thought.
What it was.
Okay. Okay, good. Now we're going to do the real thing here. Whoop, nope. You got to invoke it from here. Copy link. Copy. Magic by Mike Price.
So I wonder why it's working well now.
I don't know. Okay, good. Oh, Ian's here. Hi, Ian. Yeah, the end of the story is sort of is the Belkin piece. It's great, but there's little to say because it just works. Okay. Oh, Frank O'Carroll's here. Hi, Frank. All right, starting up again. Last week, Bart told you about how he fell in love with AirPlay 2 because of the Sonos speakers that he bought for his house and later added his HomePod minis. He spoke of the wonders of whole home audio. I'm starting over. Start that over. Last week, Bart told you about how he fell in love with AirPlay 2 because of the Sonos speakers that he bought for his house and he later added HomePod minis. He spoke of the wonders of whole home audio. I love this review because I love listening to basically anything Bart chooses to describe, but also because I too have fallen in love with AirPlay 2, but through a completely different avenue. Let me set the stage a little bit before I describe the discovery of AirPlay 2. This is weird. Discord just tried to change audio sources right in the middle of this. All right. We have a formal living room, which means it's a room that is never used. In fact, it's so rarely used that the couches we bought when we first got married are still in there because they're barely worn after 38 years. We have a nice sound system, including a record player, a cassette tape deck, a dual cassette tape deck, don't you know, and a CD player. It's like time traveling to go into our living room. We do have 2 more recent additions to the living room, a relatively modern Sony audio receiver and some new speakers. The living room's main job is to have a place to hang out when company comes over, including our kids when they come to visit. When company comes over, Steve likes to play music. The cassette deck hasn't been used in ages, and the turntable is only used for a walk down memory lane from time to time, but the CD player has been our go-to for many years. But with the advent of modern streaming music, Steve has wanted to use his iPhone to play music to the audio entertainment system. Quite a few years ago, he came up with a solution. He plugged in a composite audio cable to the left-right analog jacks on the back of the receiver, those red and white cables, and he dragged the cable around the front, and he hung it out the glass doors of the stereo cabinet. To that, he connected an adapter to go from the dual composite audio connectors to a stereo mini jack. Then he added the adapter to go from stereo mini jack to lightning. It really is a beauty to behold and so elegant. It worked well, but there were 3 problems with it. It meant having this triple cable dongle hanging out of the front of the stereo cabinet. His phone couldn't be charged while it was connected, and he couldn't easily play with or move about with his phone while it was running the music for all of us. Last year, Steve had an idea. The semi-modern audio receiver has an HDMI connector on it. It doesn't accept a video signal, but Steve thought maybe we could plug an Apple TV in via HDMI, and then he could use AirPlay to send audio from his iPhone to the Apple TV, and then in return go to the receiver. Before our kids came over to play, we unplugged the Apple TV in my studio and plugged it into the receiver. We were immediately faced with a problem. When you plug an Apple TV into a new device, you have to view a code that's on screen and plug it into your iPhone. But this Apple TV didn't have a display. I tried plugging my little 12-inch USB-C display into the Apple TV, temporarily, just so we could get the code, and it worked. After that, Steve finally had a solution for music from his phone to the living room stereo. But then I needed my Apple TV back. Every time we wanted to play music, we had to move it back and forth and do the dance with the USB-C display to get it working again. Then Apple announced the 2nd generation Apple TV 4K. We already had 5 Apple TVs, a 1st gen 4K, 3 HDs from 2015, and an old 3rd gen that didn't even have apps. It was obviously time to justify buying 2 new Apple TVs. We came up with an elaborate flow-down plan, which of course I diagrammed with my favorite mind mapping tool, iThoughts. We could buy 2 new 4Ks, then after the elaborate flow-down process, we'd be able to finally have an app-capable HD Apple TV in the kitchen, and then the aged 3rd generation Apple TV that does have AirPlay could be free to plug into the stereo in the living room and just live there. There was only one problem with this strategy. A month or so later, when the Apple TVs, the new ones, actually arrived, we completely forgot to save the 3rd gen Apple TV for the living room, and we gave it away to our housekeeper. I didn't realize I'd made this mistake for several weeks, so it seemed kind of mean to ask for it back. At this point, I figured the next most obvious solution was to buy Steve an AirPlay-compatible receiver. As I said, the Sony receiver he had was relatively modern, but that word relatively is in comparison to the cassette deck. The receiver is around 8 years old, making it far too young to retire, but I started a hunt for a reasonably priced AirPlay receiver anyway. I found a list of possible candidates at Best Buy, but they were all running around $700. Now, we're not above paying that much for entertainment gear, but remember, this room gets used pretty much at Thanksgiving and Christmas. I was discouraged by the price of a new receiver to solve this problem, so I threw out the question to my research assistant, Stephen Getz. I asked him what the least expensive solution was to get AirPlay to a stereo. At first, he suggested an Apple TV, and then I explained to him why that didn't work, but then he found the Belkin Soundform Connect audio adapter with AirPlay 2 for $100. I'd found a few little adapters like it, but they all talked about connecting to speakers, not receivers. I took a look at the Belkin, and it looked like it might be the right tool for the job. It seemed to be making a big deal about the fact that it was AirPlay 2, and I asked Stephen, what's so great about AirPlay 2? He explained, patiently, since the technology came out 3 years ago, that it allows simultaneous playback on multiple devices at once, and they would be in sync. Boy, I really should have been paying attention to this. Did I mention that we now have 6 Apple TVs, and they're all compatible with AirPlay 2, including the HD models from 2015? On top of that, we have a Big Girl HomePod and 3 HomePod minis. They're all AirPlay 2 capable. I immediately brought up Apple Music on my phone and went to the AirPlay symbol, and sure enough, there were all 10 devices awaiting my streaming audio. To say I did a head slap at this moment is not an exaggeration. By the way, this is before Bart did his article, so I didn't know it before he did that. So every morning when Steve and I are getting ready to start our day, I play the video version of the Daily Tech News Show on my 12.9-inch iPad Pro on the bathroom counter. We move back and forth into the bedroom, and as we get ready, I pick up the iPad Pro and I move it back and forth constantly throughout the morning. Okay, it's time for some rye. Getting croaky. To those who are late, this is one of 2 solutions to stop my voice from cracking and make it me not be having to clear my throat all the time.
And it appears to be working.
Yeah, it's a little gravelly, but
better than it was.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to start that one over again. Where did I not like? To say I did a head slap at this moment, actually, I'm going to just do that as written. Waiting to my streaming audio. Okay. To say I did a head slap at that moment is not an exaggeration. Every morning when Steve and I are getting ready to start our day, I play the video version of the Daily Tech News Show on my 12.9-inch iPad Pro on the bathroom counter. We move back and forth into the bedroom and back as we get ready, so I pick the iPad Pro up and I move it back and forth constantly throughout the morning. As soon as I saw the light about this 3-year-old wonder that is AirPlay 2, I realized I could simply send the audio to the bathroom HomePod Mini and the Apple TV hooked up to the TV entertainment system in the bedroom with the good speakers. With the other wonders of technology, CEC, sorry for that little pause. With the other wonder of technology, CEC, when I send the audio to the Apple TV, it automatically turns on the receiver pretty quickly so we don't have to go in and turn it on ourselves. The only downside is that the TV itself turns on, but we get the pretty screensaver to watch while Tom Merritt explains the tech news to us. Now that I understood the magic of AirPlay 2, I knew that the Belkin Soundform Connect was exactly what I needed. Dang it. Okay. I ordered it and I got a ship date that was pretty quick, but then it got delayed and delayed and delayed. It was a little bit discouraging, especially when it finally shipped, and the minute it did ship, but before I got it, I got a request to review it. Anyway, the Soundform Connect from Belkin finally arrived, and it is glorious. The Soundform Connect adapter is a very small black box with 3 connectors on it. On one side, you plug in the included USB-C to USB-A power cable to the adapter that is also included a USB-A power block. On the other side of the device are 2 connectors. You get a stereo mini jack for analog audio out or a digital optical audio out connector. Well, we obviously wanted the best audio possible, so we wanted to use the digital optical option. For the grand price of $2.63 from Monoprice, I was able to buy their 6-foot SPDIF Toslink digital optical audio cable to connect from the Belkin to one of the 2 digital optical in connectors on the back of our stereo receiver. Now, the hardest part of setting up the Belkin Soundform Connect was physically pulling the receiver out of the cabinet to get back to the connectors on the back to plug in the adapter. Now, you've done this before, you know what I'm talking about. Other than that, the setup of the Belkin device gave us the most instant gratification of anything we've installed probably in the last decade. I opened the instructions and it showed one simple step. Place your phone on top of the device where it shows a Wi-Fi symbol. I did just that, and up popped a screen on my iPhone that said audio receiver with a button that said add to home. I tapped it and it offered to add the receiver to my specific home in HomeKit. It then started to connect to my network, and in about a half second, my Eero gave me a notification that a new Ampac Technologies device had joined my network. Now, we like to jump on things like this and rename them in Eero so we can keep track of what's what, but when Steve went into the Eero app, it was correctly identified as Soundform Connect. I was also shown a screen where I could name the device in HomeKit, and it was also pre-populated with the correct name. I would estimate the total setup time to have been about 8 seconds, and the living room stereo was now available for AirPlay 2. It just works. Okay. Should I save? Yes. I'm not done yet, but just taking lots of breaks here. I need more rye. 36 new messages. Oh, Monoprice makes one? Digital to analog audio converter. I'll have to look at that later. When Steve moved into the dorms in college about 100 years ago, the first thing he did was set up his stereo. At the time, he played the song More Than a Feeling by Boston at a fairly high volume just to test out the audio quality and speaker configuration. Ever since then, every time he sets up a new audio device, even when it's not at our own house, if he's testing headphones or even sets up audio equipment, say for our kids, he always plays the same song. It's kind of a family tradition now. So, of course, the minute we got the Belkin Soundform Connect working on the living room stereo, he tested it with More Than a Feeling. It worked immediately and sounded fantastic. But remember, the joy of AirPlay 2 as described by Stephen Getz, we should be able to play to all 11 AirPlay 2 devices with them all perfectly in sync. We opened up the AirPlay controls in Control Center and tapped all 11 devices. All over the house, HomePods started playing and TVs turned on to start playing from the Apple TVs. Now, a few of our TVs are too cheap or too old to support CEC, so we had to turn them on manually like animals, but eventually our entire house was filled with glorious 1970s music. Now, you know that's not the end of the story, because as engineers, we felt an obligation to determine if they were all in sync. We cranked up the volume on all of the devices with More Than a Feeling on a loop so we could stand between the rooms and judge whether they were truly all in sync with each other. Now, here's the crazy result. As far as we can discern, 9 of the 11 devices were in sync, but 2 devices were slightly lagging behind: the $300 full-size HomePod and the Belkin Soundform Connect. They're in different rooms, and they were connected to different Eero mesh base stations. We pretty much have no explanation as to why just these 2 devices are slightly behind, but after extensive, full-volume testing, we decided the lag isn't big enough that we'd actually even care. It's just a scientific data point. After a good half hour of repeating the same song over and over again at full blast, Steve wondered out loud if our neighbor Rick might be bothered by the volume and repetitiveness of our tests since our window facing his house was open. Within about 30 seconds of when he said that, I got a text message from the awesome Rick himself. He wrote, Are you playing Boston More Than a Feeling? I love that song. I'm telling you, Rick is the best next door neighbor ever. Unfortunately, after that, he started making song requests from the Eagles and Cat Stevens, so we had to cut him off after a while. So the bottom line is, like Bart, I'm in love with AirPlay 2 as well. I can't believe I didn't understand this for 3 years when my house was filled with capable devices. I'm also in love with the Belkin Soundform Connect as a way to add AirPlay 2 to an existing audio receiver or speakers. With the $2.63 digital optical cable from Monoprice, we now have AirPlay 2 on the good stereo in the room that nobody ever goes in. The USB-C power supply is even narrow in the right direction, so it fits into a power strip, only taking up one plug. The Belkin Soundform Connect is perfect. There we go.
Good blog post. I like that.
Help me, Steve.
Help you with...
I was trying to get you to talk so I could cough.
Oh, I see. So, as Allison coughs here, it looks like we might have some other Boston fans.
Ah, okay. She needs a refill. Yeah, it's getting watered down.
John is noting a bluegrass tribute to Boston's More Than a Feeling. I have to listen to that. I haven't heard it.
Apple TV... Let's see, AirPlay 2 doesn't work on an Apple TV version 2. I don't know what version 2 is, Sandy. AirPlay 2 only goes back to the 2015 HD model. I put a link to a listing I found. It's very hard to find a compatible listing, but here it is, Sandy.
Does the Apple TV is it the same versions that support apps, loading apps?
Okay, version 2 is older. That link will show you all of them. Yeah, I don't think the Apple TV 3 does not. I don't think does. So the 2 probably not. Yeah. Now I understand something. Stephen Getz asked me what I thought of the Belkin, and I was like, it was on last week's show. Apparently it wasn't, was it?
You'll have to apologize.
Yeah. I hate how he's always right. Yeah. All right, I'm going to hand the microphone off to Alistair Jenks. Let's see if he introduces himself. Don't remember. Let's see. Oh.
When I bought my...
Okay. I'm going to give my voice a little break here and hand the microphone over to Alistair Jenks. How do I tell what version of Apple TV I have? If you can find the model number, it's in Mac Tracker. It'll tell you which one it is. Ian, or if you can read it on the back. The model number, it'll be like A1375 or something like that.
But then you'll have to translate that back to
no,
2
you don't,
versus 3.
No, I'm saying, and actually,
the model
John said
numbers
it
are
too.
just a series
The
of
model
letters
number will tell you which Apple TV that is from. In what do you call Mac Tracker?
Right. But if you don't have Mac Tracker, you can't just look at the model number and tell. It's not
right.
Easily discernible.
Right. But I'm running Mac Tracker on my phone and my iPad. I got all over the... Why do I have all these markers? There we go. Okay, let's see how this sounds.
Pro and late.
Whoop. And hand the microphone over to Alistair Jenks.
When I bought my Apple Silicon-powered MacBook Pro in late 2020...
Actually, that was a little quick, wasn't it? Alistair Jenks.
When I bought my Apple Silicon-powered MacBook Pro in late 2020, I wasn't sure what I'd do with my 2018 Mac Mini.
He's popping his peas a little bit. Oh, okay. I asked Alistair a question about this, and I don't think he ever answered me. What did I ask him? Yeah. Okay. All right. what is the app called? The app he ends up using, bulk storage on the cheap. There it is. What is it called? Offline disk file searcher.
To my tech gear budget for something else cool.
Well, that offline disk file searcher sounds really good. I definitely have some old disks set aside, and I'm going to check that out. I do have one comment, and I sent this message to Alistair, but I sent it in a medium that I don't think he follows. He talks about having no single point of failure, and that's true because he's got all these different disks, so all of them would have to fail for all of the data to be gone. But he doesn't actually talk about how he's doing any backups of each individual disk. So I'm not sure he solved that problem with the way he described it, but knowing Alistair, he's probably got a good solution already in place for that situation. Okay. I got a tiny tip. Sandy says it's a good tip.
Don't forget your chapter mark.
Yes, thank you. If somebody would just remind me, it's good you're here, Steve, because nobody else takes it seriously.
So the way it works is Kevin reminds me, and then I remind you.
Okay, so get ready. Here's the tip. Everybody open the Terminal app right now. It's in Applications, Utilities, if you don't use it normally. And once you've got it open, everybody got it open?
Yes.
All right. Would you like to see a date in the past or the future? Like, let's say, find out what day of the week were you born?
Yeah.
Type in Cal, C-A-L, space, and then the month and year you were born.
What's the format for month and year?
1958.
Space? Space
Cal
between them?
space 04 space 1958. Or just type Cal. Just type Cal. That's the first one.
Look at that.
Isn't that cool? It's the fastest way to get a calendar up that I know of.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to tell you more tips. That's right.
So were you.
Cal 1842. Good. Yeah. Okay. So there's going to be more tips coming. Here we go. Well, this week's tiny tip is about calendar. Have you ever needed to see an entire month or an entire year calendar just to look at dates, but you don't want it all cluttered up with your appointments and all that nonsense? On macOS, there's a super easy way to do it. Okay, nope, this has not been refreshed. I edited this dramatically before I posted it. So let me bring a new version of it down and I'll have some rye. I'm a Sunday baby. Me too. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Oh, come on. Come on. No. Where's the update? No, I don't want to do this again. I'm going to read it direct from the blog post. If it's that, please don't tell me it. Oh, shoot. Oh, it's just not refreshing here for some reason. Okay, hang on. Okay, good. The published post is correct. Okay, that's the right one. Okay, good. Okay, preview. Now I've got it, I think. No, it's not working.
Is there something you want me to look at on the blog post?
No, it's not. No, this is something failing in Mars Edit. It's not refreshing. The correct post is what you see on the web.
Oh. Are you trying to refresh back to Mars Edit?
Yeah. So there's nothing you can do about it, honey. Thanks. All right. I'm just going to start over here. I'll do it from the blog. Well, I have a great tiny tip for you. Have you ever needed to see an entire month or an entire year calendar just to look at dates, but you don't want it all cluttered up with your appointments? On macOS, there's a super easy way to do it. To instantly see the current month, just open the Terminal app. It's located in Applications Utilities and type just this, C-A-L, Cal. Boom! So fast, so easy, you're going to see the entire year. Oh, shoot. Dang it. I'm ad-libbing. Boom! Okay, stop. My AirPods. Okay. Discord keeps trying to change. Hang on. I don't know what's going on with Discord, but it keeps trying to change my audio interface. And it just switched to my AirPods, which are not open or anywhere near me. Can you still hear me? Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, good. Jeez. C-A-L, Cal. Now I've got to bring up Terminal because I can't remember which one. Cal is just the current month, right? There you go. It's just the current month. Okay, here we go. Boom. The current month in an easy-to-read calendar, just the information you need. So fast and so easy. I use this all the time. Well, this week I had a problem to be solved, and I knew that Terminal was the fastest way to solve it. I knew I'd written a blog post on October 17th, 2018, and I needed to find the folder where I'd stored the extra information for that blog post. I keep my notes for my blog posts in folders on my Mac by the year, month, and day of the Sunday of the podcast episode. So to find the notes for October 17th, 2018's blog post, I needed to find the date of the following Sunday. Easy peasy with Terminal. Instead of typing Cal, I needed to tell it the year I wanted to look at. So I simply typed in Cal 2018. Boom again. I instantly had the entire 2018 year shown month by month in a beautiful calendar view, and I could see that the following Sunday was 21 October 2018. Okay, this voice is just really irritating me. I'm getting like a half a paragraph before it goes bad. All right. Here's another fun use for it. Have you ever wondered on what day of the week you were born? I'm pretty sure I was born on a Sunday, but I can verify it by just adding the month into the command. So I type cal space 04 space 1958. This gives me just the month of April in 1958, and sure enough, Steve and I were born on the 20th, which was a Sunday. Now that's most of what I do with Terminal to look at calendars, but if in Terminal you type man space cal, you'll see the manual or man pages for the command cal. I started reading it and I discovered you can view the current month, but also the month on either side by typing cal space -3. Maybe you want to look at the previous 12 months. You want to know this month and the 11 months before it, starting with the current month. For that, we need to use the -B flag that tells it to go back a certain number of months. So if you type cal space -B 11, you'll get the 12 months with this month included. It's really cool. Give it a try, get it into your muscle memory, and then someday you'll be needing to see a calendar and you'll remember, hey, I've got one right here in my Terminal. Jeez.
Well, that's kind of handy.
Yeah, isn't that nifty?
Hopefully I can remember that.
All right. I just realized I have a very... I don't know what's wrong with that. We're going to come back over here. Support the show. I forgot to write it. Okay. Steve, entertain the audience. Everyone talk amongst yourselves. I have 2 people who just became patrons.
Okay.
I forgot to write them up.
So anyone checking out the Olympics? I think, as Alan mentioned, the closing ceremonies are probably going on. That's my guess. Is that true? I'm sure we're recording it somewhere. No, it's not true, Jill. Maybe it's just they're being played back. They've already occurred. I wonder if they're saving them for like primetime watching or something.
Actually, it'd be interesting to know what Michael thinks of it being in his fair country.
Right. Yeah, hey, Michael, were any of the events held near your location? I'm curious. I know they went to Sapporo up north a few hundred miles to try and evade some of the heat for the marathon, but it was just as hot up there. I think it was like in the high 70s, low 80s, but 86% humidity or something like that. That sounds unbearable for 26.2 mile run. Baseball's Yokohama Stadium. Okay. Is that close to you, Michael? You at Yokohama? Ah, okay. So was Yokohama pretty crowded or I guess since there were no real spectators, it probably didn't get that congested, I'm guessing. Although there were still the athletes and the maybe press and TV and all that. Allowed more fans to the exhibition games. Oh, okay.
All right, I'm almost done. You're doing great, Steve.
Yeah.
Done vamping?
So I imagine it would be kind of tough to have planned for, being Japan, planning for these Olympics. And then I guess they had certainly when they got selected for the Olympics, the pandemic was not known. But I would think that they had a pretty good idea as the months approached on how to handle that. My guess is the revenue that stream was greatly diminished, not having as many spectators. Still a good experience for the athletes.
How many sports are actually in the Olympics now? 3,246, near as I can figure.
I think there was an Olympic record for the number of sports this year. I saw.
I heard that. We are literally months away from Winter Olympics. That's weird.
Because they delayed the Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
By a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're normally staggered, right, every 2 years. But if you delay one of them by a year, and I guess you start.
But I think it was a year and some, wasn't it? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it normally?
Year and change.
Well, no, it's always in the summer, right?
Yeah, but when in the summer may be the difference.
Underwater basket weaving. Well,
Man,
skateboarding became one.
Skateboarding was pretty cool. This isn't brand new, but I saw a dressage event. Where the horse does this dancing.
The prancy thing.
It's unbelievable some of the steps they can make these horses do. It just boggles the mind. How do you train a horse to sidestep like that, kind of dance around?
Are you saying they could do dances that you couldn't do?
Oh yeah, because I don't have 4 legs.
Could Tesla?
No, I'm afraid not. Tesla, no.
Poor
Tesla. She's a nice dog and all.
Even with her gimpy leg.
We didn't get her
first
for
year
her
of
dancing.
surfing.
Oh, that's cool. I missed the
Where
surfing.
is Mr. Ed? Maybe he's sore at us. We canceled dinner with him this week.
Yeah.
Why is Tesla gimpy? You know what? I would really like to know that. She's been limping on her front right leg, and between the doctor and us, we can't figure out why. So they got her on all kinds of drugs. She's real happy right now. She's on a muscle relaxant, a painkiller, and I'm on a painkiller. Cheers. And muscle relaxant, painkiller, and an anti-inflammatory.
And anti-itch.
Anti-itch. Yeah, she ain't feeling no pain, let me tell you. Kevin. Yeah, poor baby. Found a great vet, though. Yeah, it's helping. She's not in bad shape at all. Okay, Steve says I should stop talking about Tessa and finish out the show here. Okay, we're going to do some... I forgot in the show notes. Security bits. One moment, please. New pod feed, security bits. It's not like you need the link to be there. Oh, I need the link to be there, so I can link to it though. Security bits. Nope. That's name in the terminal. Fast forward. Security bits right there. There it is. Nice, long, chewy security bits. If you've been wondering about the Apple with the child pornography thing, it is a big, big topic. Okay. This week's hero of the show is David Berger. He went to podfeed.com/Patreon and he pledged his hard-earned money to show his appreciation for the work we do here at the Podfeed Podcast. He gets value out of the shows and he matched that value. I can't thank David enough and all of the other existing patrons for their continued support. If you find value in the shows, continue to becoming a hero like David and show your support by going to podfeed.com/Patreon to help out the show. All right, security bits right here. And now, I should put in a chapter mark because I bet Kevin's yelling at me about something. Have I mentioned how much I like Mike's automation here? It just makes me happy every time.
Not once.
Look at that. Look at that. Is that a beautiful? It's a beautiful thing, I'm telling you.
When it works.
Yeah.
I think, though, it's your leggy computer once in a while that messes up.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on. I did an SMC reset, and I don't know if that's helping or what.
We need to hear the plink.
Oh, you do? Okay, just a moment. One moment, please.
Blink.
There we go.
You didn't think that was funny that I had the plink, the anti-plink at the end?
Well, I thought he was going to say it or something. I guess you don't need a timing marker at the end.
No. You didn't think it was funny. I thought it was funny.
It was fine.
Well, it's that time. It's fine. Plain milk's fine. Okay, no, I'm not going to do a break right now. Let's see, how about right there? To help out the show. Well, it's that time. Too soon.
Little soon. Yeah, too soon.
Too soon. Well, it's that time of the weekend, and it's time for Security Bits with Barbu Shots. How do you... Yes. No. Well, okay. All the time it's been user error, except when it wasn't working because it was just like my Mac was getting laggy while we were playing, and I don't know what that was. I'm going to play the anti-plink for them because I bet they would think it was funny.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go to the end where he said it. Oh, no, I have to find something. Okay, I need math. 20. Oh, my next web app I'm going to write, and don't tell me it's already been done. Don't want to hear about it. I'm going to write a web app that lets you add and subtract time. Add and subtract time. It's very, very hard. So I am at 2338, and I need to find 5430. Ooh, that's pretty good. That was 5430. That would be 31 minutes. On, wait, 54th. Oh, no, I got to add those two, don't I? So that's a 7 and a 7. 78 minutes. What's 78 minutes? That's 60 minutes and 60 and 17. That's an hour and 17. Jeez, it's complicated. Nobody told me there'd be math. What did I say? Oh, maybe it'll be... I made a noise, and I need to get rid of the noise I made. There we go. Come on. Hour and
this
17
is a long one.
minutes. Yeah, it's over an hour. is pretty interesting. It's not depressing at all. It's about, like I said, the thing that Apple was setting up about CSAM, which apparently is the politically correct way of saying child pornography.
Thread
Oh,
is
nice.
the future of the hardware of IoT.
Okay.
So it's about me, which is great. That was a real
Okay, where was it? It's right around. It should be right
information
on.
asking them, hey, so there has been danger.
Mm-hmm.
The notable news then.
Oops, can't
Oops.
find it.
Yeah, the big danger is
So 5430 plus 2330. What time would that be? Nobody gonna help me? Help me with math.
I get 79, an hour and 19 minutes.
Oh, an hour 19?
54:30 and 24:30?
2330.
Oh, 23:30. 78,
So it'd be 78. Okay.
an hour 18.
So, but it wasn't exact.
and in terms of interesting insight.
Found it.
Oh, what was that?
Anybody recognize that noise? Only for you guys. Listen.
And then in terms of interesting insights,
That sounds like a sound effect from Apple.
It is. Anybody know what it is? Nope, it's not from my watch. It's embarrassing. You guys need to hear it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay, one more time.
and then in terms of interesting insights.
Here, let me mute Bart so you can hear it clearly.
I can hear it. I just don't know what sound that
Listen.
is.
I'm not telling you.
Huh.
You either know what it is and you'll realize what I was doing, or you don't.
So whatever you're doing was embarrassing, apparently.
Yes. That's really interesting that nobody knows what that is. I don't know if I would guess it because I don't do it often, but I
Is
thought
this
it was
something
funny.
you should be admitting on air?
Well, anyway, folks, remember, despite everything else, the most important thing is to stay patched so you stay secure.
Okay, I'll tell you. I think, Jill, is there a typo in what you just wrote, or did you type exactly what you meant to type?
The most important thing is to stay patched so you stay secure.
Yes, Jill is right.
What
That
were
is
you
the
gaming?
sound. That is the sound of arcade. Apple
Allison.
Arcade. I was launching a game.
Allison.
Don't tell him.
And then you just destroyed the evidence.
Sometimes I need just something to do with my hands to pay attention, and I didn't have my knitting there, so or crocheting or anything. So, shh, nobody tells him.
I'm sending a note to Bart.
No, you are not. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm gonna play. This is what Bart played at the end that I thought was kind of funny.
And where's my big unblink button?
Where's my
Okay,
my big
that's
unplink button?
funny.
You didn't laugh earlier.
I'm just delaying my laugh.
Did you hear it? Let me increase the. It's a little quiet. Here it is again.
And where's my big unblink button?
Where's me big unblink button? I love
Maybe I
it.
should save that out as its own file.
Yes. Yeah, that's a keeper. We should
Don't
also
call
save
Bart
th-
tomorrow.
You should also save that little sound effect from your gaming.
No. Okay. I guess I better wind us up for this week. I'm almost out of ride. We got to finish the show. Only 6 minutes. Hurry. Well, after that long mammoth show, it's going to wind us up for this week. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions. Everything is fiddly recordings. Haven't had any of those in a while. I've had a lot of fiddly bits, so much I couldn't even write them up because everything was going wrong this week. But send those, your comments and suggestions, by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. We've got podfeet.com/Patreon. You can become a patron of the Podfeet podcast because you can be cool like David Berger if you do. If you don't want to do a long-term donation, you could go to podfeet.com/PayPal and do a one-time donation. I really love people who contribute to the show by talking to each other, answering each other's questions, and the best place to do that is podfeet.com/Slack or podfeet.com/Facebook, where you can get into the conversation. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live, where all of the crazy NosillaCastaways live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Ooh, you got typhoons coming? Yeah.
Ooh.
That isn't good.
9, 10, 11. Well, at least it was after the Olympics.
Yeah, who cares about Michael like maybe dying in a typhoon? At least the Olympics are okay.
More people would have been impacted. I'm not dissing Michael here. I do feel bad for Michael.
More foreigners.
Well,
dig the hole. Just keep digging. And stay subscribed.
There's still people. Foreigners are people too.
Oh, typhoons are no big deal? Michael, have you been listening long enough? Did you hear voiceover artist, oh God, what is his name? All of a sudden I blanked on his name, read my father's letter of the typhoon in Okinawa during World War II that he lived through? Have you been listening long enough to have heard that? Oh God, Ron David. Oh, I got to send you that link. Ron David is a very well-known voiceover artist. You would have heard him he did Wings of War and the Titanic on National Geographic Channel. And I had him read my father's letter that he wrote to my mother during World War II. And I think it's just, well, obviously it meant a lot to me. But it's, let me find it.
Here, I got it here.
Oh, really? You got to it faster than me?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Dang it. He did. He beat me. That was a typhoon. That was quite the story. So I think all typhoons are just like that one. That's why I'm freaked out. Yeah, he was actually in Okinawa in the harbor. They were not... you got to see, there's pictures of huge ships tossed aside and destroyed in the typhoon. It was a big mess.
So I have a question about typhoons before we go, Michael. So a hurricane isn't named a hurricane until it achieves a certain wind speed. Is that speed the same as what a typhoon must achieve to be called a typhoon? Is that true? In other words, are typhoons in general as strong as hurricanes? Because below hurricane, we have tropical storm and gales and other things that aren't quite as bad. Generally, hurricanes can be nasty if they are coming on the coast. Well, we may not have time for that answer.
All of a sudden, the picture of my mother is huge on this website. On my website.
The one of you and your dad, your mom and your dad?
No, scroll down. The one of my mom, it's like dominating the whole screen.
It is big, yeah.
I gotta fix that. Yeah.
Yeah, I see your point. All right.
Well, do we think we're done?
Oh, John says 74 miles per hour to become a typhoon. So that sounds close to what a hurricane has to become, or the wind speed for a hurricane. I think we're done.
Okay. Well, This Week in Typhoons is complete. The show is ready for me to upload, and I think we should call it. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Hey, maybe next week my voice will be better.